Kansas, gateway to Oz. Under the rainbow, this is where it was. Hollyhocks and red ripe tomatoes, hand-churned homemade ice cream. Let me tell you, Kansas is more than tornadoes. It's the best part of Dorothy's dream.
Today on Around Kansas, let's start with the Fort Leavenworth Fox Hunt and see how it began in 1926. Then we'll meet Jack Johnson, also known as Topeka Jack, who passed away in 1940, but recently received a headstone in Topeka's Mount Auburn Cemetery. Then enjoy a poem from Ron Wilson, and we'll end with a trailer for a video about the Underground Railroad. Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com. This segment brought to you by Brown Chevrolet Buick in Wamego, just a short drive down the Yellow Brick Road. Good morning, I'm Frank.
I'm Deb.
And this is Around Kansas, and we're in a brand new year.
2017.
Oh my, 2017.
That's unreal. Just amazing. Just amazing. They just spin by, don't they, Frank?
Yeah.
Just spin by.
Oh my. Well, and I don't know why I just thought of this, but I've been watching this National Geographic series called Mars, and of course they show you really what's going on for the Mars shot in 2016. Then they go to 2033 with, the first crew that goes to Mars and all that. And I'm not really sure where that goes, except that I'm really kind of hoping I'm still here in 2033, because that really is when they're going to make that shot.
You know, when you look at how the future was portrayed, like a lot of people look at Star Trek, for example, and, the flip communication devices, the cell phone. And then, we don't have the teletransporter yet, the one that I'm really holding on for. I really hope that happens in my day. But all of those things, the scans, you remember when Bones would scan somebody, and he'd just do a scan over them, and now we have...
Now you can do that.
You can do that. We have scans. And so, as you well know, and Michael knows, because Michael is such a fan of classic films and TV shows, so much fiction found its way into the scientific community, and I think they were feeding each other.
Yeah, well, Dick Tracy and his wrist radio.
And it's really...
Oh, and it's like, well...
is that the new, iPhone thing now? That's just about exactly what it is. I love CBS Sunday Morning. That's, I think, maybe my favorite TV show. And I'm sorry I can't think of the man's name, but one of the reporters did a beautiful episode on John Glenn's passing. And he met John Glenn at the White House at some reception a few years ago, and John Glenn was a fan of his. And he's like, okay, you're going to meet John Glenn. Don't be stupid. Don't be stupid. Don't say something stupid. And Glenn talked about when John Glenn and Charles Lindbergh flew together in World War II. And, Lindbergh fell out of favor with the American public because he was anti-war. They saw him as pro-Nazi, and he tried to enlist to redeem himself. He wanted to fly into combat to redeem himself, and the branches wouldn't take him.
They wouldn't take him.
They wouldn't take him. But this reporter made this excellent... He's like, what an incredible thing. Here you have Lindbergh past his glory and John Glenn before his glory, and they are together. And you go in the Space and Air Museum, and there's the Spirit of St. Louis, and there's John Glenn's space capsule. What an incredible world, Frank. What an incredible world.
Who knows what's ahead?
Who knows what's ahead? Yeah. Wonderful, wonderful things are being discovered and are going to be discovered. This year, Frank, 2017.
Well, I remember my 6th grade teacher, which was a long time ago, Mr. Farbaugh.
Did they have chlorine then?
Well, but he told us toward the end of the year, he said, here we are in 1950, and he said, in your lifetime, you're going to see wondrous things that people haven't even thought of yet.
Haven't even thought of. Isn't that incredible?
Yeah.
Hey, we got a great show for you. Stay with us.
To see this show and past episodes of Ag AM in Kansas, go online to agaminkansas.com. Buffalo Bill Cody earned his legendary title in Oakley. Bring the family and come celebrate Oakley's pioneering history and unique geography at two sites, the Buffalo Bill Cultural Center and the Fick Fossil Museum. Cody's statue marks his achievements and welcomes visitors to the Cultural Center. The Fick Fossil Museum houses world-class fossils and artifacts. You'll find Oakley at the hub of U.S. Highways 83 and 40 and I-70. Stop for the legend. Stay for the day. Discover Oakley.
Lecompton. The name was splashed across newspapers throughout America and Europe. It was debated in the halls of Congress. Lecompton interprets its unique territorial history with two museums and other sites. Events throughout the year celebrate history and community. Visit the Territorial Capitol Museum, where more than 70 trees are displayed with thousands of antique and vintage ornaments, and be sure to stop in the gift shops in both Lecompton museums. Spend the day in historic Lecompton, shopping, eating, savoring the rich history.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Regenerative Medicine Center. Your stem cells, your health, your life. Here we are again. Aren't you so happy?
I know we are. We're happy to be here. Happy to have you with us, too.
Oh, my. Hey, I know what the next story is, but before you kind of talk about it a little bit, because it has to do with a fox hunt. But are you familiar with the Fallowfield hunt?
Uh-uh.
You're not? Oh, okay. Well, actually, an artist named Cecil Alden, back in was 1904, painted 6 different pictures of a fox hunt. Okay, starting with the breakfast and then gathering and then finally the capture of the fox and then the dinner afterwards. And anyway, I happen to have those prints.
I'm so jealous.
But, well, the thing is, when Linda and I were antiquing, we learned about the Fallowfield hunt. And at that time, you could find a lot of Fallowfield hunt things around. I mean, like tea sets. And they were all hand-painted with scenes from the Fallowfield hunt.
Oh.
Yeah, and I don't know if you can still find them or not, but it's really kind of an interesting thing.
Well, the hunt, and you'll hear a little bit about that in the story, is like a culture all of its own. And of course, having grown up in Virginia, of course, where fox hunting was a big deal, whether it was the people in the nice riding suits or the hillbillies just following the hounds. My grandpa, I can remember his sitting out on the front porch and listening to the hounds run at night. It's one of his favorite things after he quit hunting himself. But fox hunting or raccoon hunting, it's a tradition that goes back to the British Isles, and that's what the story will talk about a little bit. And of course, I think that the hunt at Leavenworth is one of the oldest and certainly thriving. So it's a really, I think it's a pretty cool story.
Is that where you go out and sit in the woods with a gunny sack and a club? Oh no, that's snipe.
No,
sorry.
No. Whole different story. Whole different segment. The Fort Leavenworth Hunt was organized in 1926 by the 10th Cavalry Regiment and disbanded during World War II. The pack of hounds was reconstituted in 1964 and 2 years later was recognized by the Masters of Foxhounds Association. Military personnel and their families, as well as civilians, are subscribers to the hunt. The kennels are located on Fort Leavenworth. The hunt enjoys the unique distinction of hunting on the post, covering land that marks the beginning of the Santa Fe Trail. This sport carries on the tradition of a sport which has not changed much since it first came to us from England in 1650. The hunt country is on Fort Leavenworth and nearby in the vicinity of Easton. Twice a year, the hunt moves to the wide open expanses of the Flint Hills at the Mulvane Ranch. This is truly a unique hunting experience, hunting over 15,000 acres of native prairie grass. During hunt season, hunters go out regularly, weather permitting. Because of weather, it is wise to check before each hunt to make sure of time and place. During the off-season, they exercise and train the hounds, work on trails, and conduct fundraising endeavors. The object of the Fort Leavenworth Hunt is to pursue a fox or coyote with the hounds through hunt country, offering the subscribers of the hunt an opportunity to view this chase. The actual hunting is the work of the huntsman and staff. The subscribers and guests are observers. There are 25 to 35 hounds used in each hunt. The thrill is in the chase, watching the hounds work and hearing them give tongue, doing their job guided by the huntsman and assisted by the whippers in. The field master leads the field of riders into a position to view the fox or coyote being pursued. The hunt's intentions are only to chase. The hunt is designed to provide a safe and friendly atmosphere for any rider wishing to participate, offering both the novice and the accomplished rider a safe and exciting experience.
Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
Valley Vet Supply.
Ag Promo Source is a unique group of marketing specialists with one mission: help your ag business grow. Each affiliate has their own area of expertise, and they work together to bring you advice, products, and services. To get started, visit agpromosource.com. Ag Promo Source. Together we grow.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Soybean Commission. Progress powered by Kansas farmers.
And here we are again. So,
Talking about one of Frank's favorite subjects, baseball. There's just no end to the baseball stories, are there, Frank? Mm-hmm. And just like Kansas has a lot of musical and acting talent, we got a lot of baseball talent.
a lot of baseball people, yeah.
An awful lot of baseball people. And I want to give a shout out to our friend Doug Wright. And Doug is, I don't know, some potentate with the Shawnee County Baseball Hall of Fame, which, it's just Shawnee County, but I'm telling you, they got a pretty prestigious lineup in that Hall of Fame.
Yes.
It's amazing when you look at it. But Doug provided the research for this story. So we want to tell Doug how much we appreciate that.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah. In fact, I'm going to do a story on Topeka Jack. And he was just recently honored, finally, after many years. And I don't want to get ahead of the story, but it is an interesting story. And yeah, you're right. Baseball, for some reason in Kansas, it really is a big thing. When I was a kid, they didn't come scout me. But the thing is the Chicago White Sox came to Kansas a lot to scout talent, and there were a lot of Topekans that got to go. And of course, we have people that have played in the World Series and everything else from the state of Kansas.
Yeah.
And we've done some stories about Tinker or to Chance to Evers,
Mickey Mantle, Mike Torres. Yeah, so go to our website and you can look back through the archives and find some of those stories.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm going to have a story about Topeka Jack. Here's a great story.
Topeka Jack Johnson passed away in 1940, and his grave in the capital city's Mount Auburn Cemetery was unmarked for more than half a century until just weeks ago. A well-known baseball player, manager, and promoter decades prior to the integration of the major leagues, Johnson was also a prominent boxer. He later served on the Topeka Police and Fire Departments. On the day his marker was dedicated, a celebration of his life was held at the Brown v. Board of Education National Historic Site with a special celebration of Johnson's life. The headstone was provided by the Negro League's Baseball Grave Marker Project, a subsidiary of the Society of American Baseball Research. He founded and managed the Topeka Giants in 1906, taking them on a tour of Nebraska, Iowa, Illinois, Missouri, and Kansas. He went on to play for and manage the Kansas City, Kansas Giants in 1909 and 1911, and the Kansas City, Missouri Royal Giants in 1910. During these years, he worked with players like Tully McAdoo, Bill Pettis, a young 18-year-old Bill Lindsay, Bingo DeMoss, and Hurley McNair. In 1917, Johnson managed Jack Johnson's Topeka Giants, a team that played at least one game against the All Nations Baseball Club. The events honoring him were sponsored by the Negro League's Baseball Grave Marker Project and Shawnee County Baseball Hall of Fame and Shawnee County Parks and Recreation Foundation. Negro League's author Phil Dixon commented about the ceremonies, "I was very happy to see Johnson getting a bit of the recognition he earned. Back in the 1980s, I began writing about his accomplishments and researching his life." Roosevelt Butler of KCK provided me with a photograph of Johnson managing the 1909 Kansas City, Kansas Giants. That season, Johnson led the Giants to 54 consecutive victories. Fred Langford, who lived in Kansas City, Kansas, was the first to tell me about Johnson's boxing career and that Topeka Jack had fought world champion Jack Robinson in Leavenworth, Kansas. Langford also played for the Kansas City, Kansas Giants. Speaking of Langfords, Topeka Jack also fought Sam Langford in Topeka, Kansas. This information was first published in one of his books. There's much more to the story, and I'm glad to have played a role in keeping his history alive. And so there it is, the story of Topeka Jack Johnson.
There's a lot of different ways of doing this woodwork, but all of it still takes both hands.
He had been told that by the orthopedic specialist in Enid, Oklahoma, that they would have to fuse his thumb.
And I said, no, cut it off, because I didn't want it sticking up. And I found out about the Kansas regenerative stem cell and went to Manhattan.
We were so impressed with how royally we were treated the first time we came to Kansas Regenerative.
We came in and he took out the stem cells. It took about an hour for him to process them before they put him back in my knees and my thumb. And we were out of here in about 4 hours and on our way back home. And I'm in here today to have my shoulders, my hips, and my back done. So I'll be able to go back to my sawmill, my shop, and do about anything I want to do.
Fort Wallace stood on the frontier in the midst of the Plains Indians Wars on a major stage route and rail line. Beside the 1865 stagecoach station, a modern museum with thousands of artifacts tell that story, like the fossil of a 40-foot plesiosaur is suspended from the ceiling. Located on Highway 40 midway between Hayes and Colorado Springs, the Fort Wallace Museum is as welcome a sight today as the fort itself in the 1860s. Discover the fightingest sport in the West. This segment brought to you by Kansas Grain Sorghum, growers working together. Find out more at ksgrainsorghum.org.
Cowboys love to train animals. Sometimes the animals can train us. This poem is entitled Horse Training. On a hot summer morning, I walked out to train a young horse we were teaching to ride in the rain. The flies were a-buzzing in the hot morning sun as I walked to the barn with my 2 little sons. One said, "Dad, you see those 2 horses right there standing together like they were a pair? They get close together and that's how they graze, but their heads are facing in opposite ways. So the head of the one's by the tail of the other. Why did they do that?" he asked me and his brother. I said, "You're a mighty observant young man, and I'll answer your question the best that I can. You see, there's lots of flies around this cow lot. They're a natural pest that we've always got. The horse uses his tail to shoo off those flies like I do with my hand if the need should arise. But the tail is too short to reach that horse's head, so they've learned they can partner with another horse instead. They can stand close together, one's head by the other's tail, then they can shoo the flies off each other without fail. So that's why the horses stand together that way. Now go in the barn and get 'em some hay." While the boys did their chores, I stopped and I thought, there's a message for me in that lesson I taught. If horses can learn to cooperate too, there's no limit to what we as people can do. There's some things a person can't do as just one. When we work together, so much more can get done. If we partner together, which is really my druthers, we'll share the rewards as we serve each other. It's a mutual benefit that we can treasure if, like all those horses, we all stand together. It was time to begin that pony's training lessons, but I looked at my kids and thanked God for my blessings. At supper that night, my wife says to me, "How'd that training go for the new pony?" I said it went well, but not in the usual way. My kids and my horses taught me a lot today. Happy trails.
KFRM is one of the largest farm radio stations in the nation, dedicated to informing and entertaining rural listeners from northern Oklahoma to southwestern Nebraska. You can catch KFRM in many ways. Of course, 550 on the AM dial, streaming at KFRM.com, or on your smartphone by going to the TuneIn Radio app, or on Ag AM in Kansas on Tuesdays and Facebook every day of the week. KFRM, tune us in. You'll be glad you did.
Buying a car shouldn't be this hard. And at Brown Chevrolet Buick in Wamego, it isn't. It's actually awesome. Whether you want a new or used car or truck, Toby's team can make the deal. Even if you want to custom order a new car or truck, Toby's team can make the deal. See Toby's team at Brown Chevrolet Buick in Wamego. We're awesome.
Soil is the life of a farm, and for 25 years, SureCrop Liquid Crop Nutrition has helped growers produce abundant quality crops while preserving and improving the soils they steward. SureCrop offers complete soil and plant analysis with cropping recommendations, delivery direct to your on-farm storage, and quality crop nutrition custom blended for your field. Choose SureCrop for the assurance of excellence for your soil. Call today or visit their website for more information. This segment brought to you by Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture. To join today or more information, go to kfb.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter. And here we are again. Gosh, here we are already. This is our first weekend to 2017. Can you imagine?
No. No.
So.
Don't have my brain wrapped around it yet.
Yeah.
Except for the to-do list, that I still have the to-do list left over from 2016 that's not done.
Yeah, well, at least one thing is, depending on what check writing program you use, at least it automatically puts 2017 on your checks.
Because I can't keep up the dates to save my life. As everybody knows me knows, I can't keep up the deadlines. And it's not that I don't know. It's like I can't remember, okay, we've got to do this on Tuesday. But then I can wake up Tuesday and not realize that today is Tuesday, And so I'm just challenged, Frank. That's just all there is to it. I'm just challenged.
So,
it's that little glitch.
Okay.
Fortunately, there are people out there doing good work who are not as challenged as I am. And we want to give a shout out to Richard Pitts. It's a beautiful, beautiful documentary. And we've been very involved in documentary work. So I really appreciate that good work when I see it. On the Underground Railroad. And this is, I think, produced by the K-State Department of Education. I may not have that wording quite right, but we'll get it right on the screen. And I think you can download this for free. Free is good, Frank. Free is really good. And when you get this kind of quality for free, this is a great country.
Yeah.
I'm telling you what, it really is. So this is a beautiful, beautiful documentary. Happy to share this trailer with you.
To collect all these stories and provide that narrative of what the Underground Railroad is about, that's something that needs to be done so that we can honor those people that did this great thing. And that's a great benefit of this story. The fact that it shows that as human beings, we're capable of doing the right thing.
It's the point of recognizing a wrong and trying to right it. We're human beings. And we all have a sense of right and wrong and a sense of justice. And I think the Underground Railroad story is a story of justice.
It means a lot to me to know that my family was so involved and so dedicated to this. I ask children when they come in, do you know about the Underground Railroad? And I'm finding that most cases during Black History Month, they learn about the Underground Railroad. And a lot of children are very interested in what I have, but I think it's something that children should be taught.
The struggle for freedom in the United States that our founding fathers and mothers articulated, it's never over. And I think young people need to know how far we've come.
Whenever anything significant has happened, it always took a diverse group of people to make it happen. It never was just one race. And good examples leads to great behavior, but bad examples do the opposite.
And so, again, we're into 2017. I'm Frank.
I'm Deb.
And we'll see you somewhere around
Kansas.
Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com.
Churned homemade ice cream. Let me tell you, Kansas is more than tornadoes. We're the best part of Dorothy's dream.